Good morning. My name is Desiree Ferrer, and I am your analyst. All right, so let's take a look at what we got here. All right, so I'm on the hour, and this is the SPY chart here. So if you've been following me last week, you can see here that this area, this 399.03 area, is a resistance. And you can see here that it's a pretty tough resistance here because look, we had a rejection here. We had we went above 399 to 400, but you see we closed below 399. We touched here and rejected. So we're like literally on top of this 399 right now. So this is where you can see the strength in the bulls. But what we do know is that this area is a pretty tough resistance. It's a pretty tough resistance. And we know that because the 200 MA is acting as a support of resistance as well as just a very strong support area. So we definitely want to watch closer today because we could still be consolidating in between this flag, which I looked at where we are currently. We closed yesterday around like 397-ish. Right now we're around like 396. So we're a little bit below where we opened. So if that's the case, we could possibly take it back down to the support at 393. If we lose 393, then our next area of support is around like 387. But as of right now, I mean, we're still like on top of it. What I noticed about this flag too is there is a lot of movement above the top of the flag. So think about it as like, construction workers. If you have a bunch of men trying to tear open a ceiling, it's going to take a short time in order to bust through that ceiling. So if you have a lot of volume here, which we do because we keep tipping the top here, it looks like they do want to break above this 400, but the reality is it's a pretty strong resistance. So, the likelihood of it coming back down to support is high, but we do have a strong momentum trying to burst through. That's what I see here, when I see all of this volume. So it's good to see how we're going to play out today. But the reality is I do see a bit of, give me 1 second. Let me open this up higher. I see, that it could possibly come back down to the support area because typically we go from the top to the bottom, top to the bottom. I mean, unless there is a lot of momentum, I am seeing strong momentum here, but we're not breaking above. Even though we have a lot of strong momentum, we're still below. We're still below 399. So me, it's still a resistance area until this level, until we actually close above this level here, it's still a resistance level. So even though we have a little bit of momentum, based on price, we're right here around like 396-ish area. So, well, we hit a low of 396. We're about 397.9. Let's see. We close, see where we close that exactly. Let's put our marker on the closing. 397, 397.7 is where we closed that. So we're kind of like right there at closing, but we did hit a low of 396.4. And you could see here this when we hit this high of 400 yesterday, which was nice, but we still closed below 399. So that's why it wasn't an official break. So we have to be careful because this is still a resistance area. So we do have to anticipate the possible pullback to 393 unless we're going to break above. Now, because there is so much strength here, if we do break above, we can calculate where our new resistance is going to be. So once it breaks above this level, we're looking at about, I'd say, about 404-ish. Yeah, I'd say about 403.4. Let me see where that is on the daily. That's a little bit above the 200 MA, which is a pretty small breakout. I wouldn't go too far above because at the end of the day, even if we break out above this 399 area, we're still overbought in the 4 hours. So we're not going to go too far before that pullback, before a nice little pullback comes, in my opinion. So what I'm seeing here, I mean, we're still below the 399. So definitely possible rejection back down to 393. But because there is so much volume around this area here, the likelihood of it breaking is pretty high. If it does break, a new resistance is going to be about 403.56. That's what I have here. Until then, we just got to kind of, allow the stock to play out its patterns here. Let's take a look at SQQQ. Oh. Okay, so we talked about SQQQ. We talked about price action. Even though we are in an oversold position with SQQQ, price action still tells us that we want to keep heading down. So that's what my speculation was when I did the last analysis. And you can see here that they're still in this flag and they broke it below. And since they fell below this area, we've kind of been below. We're like below this this area here, which was support, but it's below it. So if it stays below it, it's going to become new resistance. And it looks like SQQQ may want to head down here. So we just got to be careful with them too, because even though we're oversold, price action is telling us like we're really low. Remember, when we start creating lows, we get new lows until we can get a reversal. Now this here could be a possible reversal. This is a doji where buyers kind of like step in, but you can see that we're still below this area. So even though this could be a potential doji where it's trying to reverse because it is a strong support area, we can't get above it. So even if it's created, but there's no volume, you can't move without no volume. So this could be a possible reversal area because you may want to take it up to get some momentum. But if volume if there's no volume picking up, then we can't move. But with SPY looking like it may want to pull back at that 399 on the daily chart, if that's the case, then SQQQ will pick it back up and we'll probably touch around here somewhere. But remember, this is resistance, which is rejection. Once we fell through it, we haven't passed it. We tried to here, but we rejected it, came back down, created this is a high right here. This is a higher low, right? And then now we're down here creating lower lows. So overall, they're pretty weak. But remember, I always say this, these smaller time frames need a little bit of momentum so they can create patterns too in order to keep, going in the overall direction that is the strongest. And right now I see that the bears are pretty strong here with the SQQQ. Yeah, because we're still pointing down. Yeah, they're pretty strong. Let's take a look at Apple here and see if Apple is moving with SPY. Okay, so Apple is beautiful right now. So 135.13. We closed above that. We broke. We were sitting on this 130. I knew holding this 130 was a good sign. We broke out, and then we are above 135 now. So we're still zoning in between these areas here. The next resistance is about 138.5. See where we're at right now. We're at 136.32. They look a little bit like SPY. Got some momentum there. But these lower time frames are really overbought. This is the 4 hour. Okay, so they're right there on top of this 200 MA here, and they're overbought. Yeah, we got to be careful here. They may get some momentum to push it to 138.6, but after that, yeah, I could see pullbacks coming. So just be careful, guys, in the market. And again, we're very strong overall, but it's still the same thing that I've been saying. the last few analysis, that even though we are strong, and you can see this here in SPY, we just a lot of consolidation up here. Even though we are strong, we have to be careful because, you know, pulling back is very important in order to create patterns to keep going. So the support I have here on SPY is about 393.4. Even though we're real strong and we keep tipping up here, we still have a very strong resistance here on the daily. So we just have to keep this in mind. So this rejection is very probable. So we can't just say, oh my God, we're just going. We're just gonna burst through. No, we gotta allow this tug of war to play out, because once you know, it rejects enough times, eventually it will break through. If not, it'll just fall through. But either way, we know this is a strong area here. Okay. All right. Hope this helps.